The girl's voice was so faint that, at first, the mechanic thought he imagined it. The stairwell of the old apartment building was dim and cold, the flickering bulb overhead buzzed like an irritated bee, and outside, the December wind clawed at the rusted metal door. He had come to deliver a repaired space heater, a favor, really, because the customer was a regular and winter had come early and cruel this year. But he didn't expect to find a child sitting on the bottom step, hugging her thin knees, her hair falling like a curtain around a pale face. "If you carry me up the stairs," she said again, "I'll tell you a secret." Her voice trembled with both fear and hope. And that is how it all began. No warning, no explanation, no chance to say no. The universe simply shoved him into the story like some impatient narrator tired of the slow build-up. One moment he was a tired mechanic named Ethan Clark, hands greasy, jacket too thin for the weather, dreaming of a hot shower. The next, he was kneeling down in front of a fragile little girl whose eyes were too big for her face. He didn't speak right away. Something about her felt wrong. Not dangerous, he'd faced danger. He'd grown up in the rougher end of town, worked in garages that smelled of gasoline and desperation. He'd changed tires in the rain at midnight and once pulled a kid out of a burning car. Danger he understood. But this was a quiet wrongness. The kind that sits on your shoulders and whispers that something terrible is hiding behind the walls. "Hey," he finally said, softening his voice. "Are you okay? Where's your mom?" She blinked slowly, as if the question was hard to process. "Fourth floor. But I can't climb anymore." Her small hand touched her chest. "It hurts too much today." Her lips were pale, almost bluish. Ethan's stomach tightened. He worked with metal and engines, but even he could see something was badly off. "All right," he said gently, "let's get you upstairs." When he lifted her, she weighed almost nothing. Like a bundle of scarves. Like a bird. He could feel her ribs even through the thin fabric of her sweater. She curled against him as naturally as if she'd been carried 1,000 times. And maybe she had, just never by someone strong enough to make her feel safe. "What's your name?" he asked as he began climbing. "Lily," she whispered. A simple name. Soft. Delicate, like the girl herself. "I'm Ethan." She nodded, then leaned closer, her breath warm against his neck. "I meant what I said. I'll tell you a secret. But only when we get to the top." He didn't push. Kids with fever or pain said strange things. He just adjusted his hold on her and kept climbing. But with every step, he became more aware of the eerie silence in the building. No TVs. No voices. No laughter. Just wind, and the soft wheeze of the child in his arms. Fourth floor. Apartment 4B. The door was old, the paint peeling like dried petals. Lily lifted her hand and knocked twice, so lightly he barely heard it. "Mom," she called softly. "I'm back." No answer. She swallowed, her small throat working hard. "Try again," she whispered. Ethan shifted the heater box under one arm and knocked, louder this time. Still nothing. He glanced at the girl. She didn't look surprised. In fact, she looked resigned. "Is she expecting you?" he asked carefully. "She should be," Lily whispered. "But maybe she's sleeping again." "She sleeps a lot." The neighbors on this floor were silent too. No footsteps behind doors. It felt like a ghost floor. He tried the handle. The door wasn't locked. Inside, the apartment was dim, lit only by the gray afternoon light filtering through thin curtains. The air smelled stale, and something else. Something metallic. Lily touched Ethan's collar. "My room," she said. Left. He carried her inside. The place was too neat. Too untouched. As if someone had tried to clean in a hurry, but failed to make it look lived in. A mug with dried tea. A blanket crumpled on the couch. But no movement. No mother. Ethan felt the hairs on his arms rise. He stepped into the small bedroom. A child's room, soft pink curtains, pictures hand-drawn and taped to the wall, a stuffed bear missing one eye. He lowered Lily onto her bed. She winced as her feet touched the blanket. "Is your mom sick too?" Ethan asked gently. Lily pulled the blanket over her legs, her hands shaking. "No, she's just tired. She says she's tired all the time." Ethan looked around again. Something wasn't right. But before he could ask more, Lily sat up, her eyes suddenly sharp, urgent, too old for her small face. "I have to tell you the secret now," she said. He sat on the edge of the bed. "All right, what is it?" She reached under her pillow and pulled out a folded piece of paper. Old. Crumpled from being squeezed by small hands too many times. She held it out to him with trembling fingers. "My mom doesn't know I found this," she whispered. "But, you have to see it." Ethan opened the paper, and his breath left his lungs. It wasn't childish scribbles. It was a medical bill. Not 1, 5, all overdue. And at the bottom, highlighted in frantic pink marker. Stage 4, non-operable. Palliative recommended. He stared at the trembling little girl. "Lily, is this yours?" She nodded, eyes shimmering with tears she was too tired to shed. "My mom doesn't know I can read the hard words," she whispered, her voice breaking. "She keeps saying I'll get better. But I know the truth." A small, painful silence. "So the secret is, you know you're sick." Ethan's voice cracked against his will. She shook her head. "That's not the secret." Her small hand gripped his sleeve with desperate strength. "The secret is," she swallowed hard. "I heard her. Last night. She was crying on the phone. She said she can't afford my medicine anymore. She said she doesn't know how to keep me alive through the winter." Ethan felt his chest tighten in a way he hadn't felt since the day his brother died. "But that's still not the secret," Lily whispered. He leaned closer. "Then what is?" he whispered. She looked at him with slow, heart-crushing clarity. "My mom is going to leave. She doesn't want me to see it, but she's planning to go somewhere far so she can give me a chance. She thinks, if she's gone, someone else will help me." Her voice broke. "She thinks someone else will save me better than she can." Ethan froze. "Lily, are you sure?" She nodded. "She was packing last night." He looked around the apartment again, now noticing the empty spots where things should be. The missing shoes by the door. The half-taken down photos on the wall. He swallowed sharply. "Did she leave already?" he asked, his voice tight. "No," Lily whispered. "She said she would go today. When I went downstairs for air, she thought I was asleep." A long silence tightened around them like a rope. Finally, Ethan asked, "Why did you ask me, of all people, to carry you upstairs?" She blinked up at him, eyes huge and sincere. "Because you're strong," she said simply. "And kind. I see you in the courtyard sometimes. You always help people, even when no one asks." Ethan felt something twist inside him. "And because," she hesitated, then whispered, "I hoped you would help us. I hoped, maybe you wouldn't let my mom leave." The heater box on the floor seemed suddenly absurd. He had come to fix a machine. Instead, he had walked into the collapsing world of a dying child. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know how to breathe. But then, the front door clicked, then shut. Lily's whole body jolted. "She's back," she gasped. But the footsteps were slow, heavy, exhausted. Ethan stood. He didn't know that everything, the next words, the next few minutes, would change his entire life. But Lily knew. And she reached out, clutching at his sleeve with trembling fingers. "Ethan," she whispered, her voice shaking, "please don't let her leave me." And then the bedroom door began slowly to open. The bedroom door opened only a few inches before the woman behind it froze. Her hand stayed on the doorknob, fingers trembling. Her eyes, red-rimmed and exhausted, darted from Ethan to Lily, then back again. She looked like someone who had run out of tears but not out of pain. "Mom," Lily whispered from the bed. The woman's knees buckled. She caught the doorframe before she collapsed, pressing a shaking hand over her mouth. For a moment, she said nothing, only stared at her daughter as if memorizing the shape of her before she disappeared forever. Ethan didn't move. He knew instinctively that any sudden shift could shatter her completely. "Lily," the woman breathed, her voice cracking under the weight of words she hadn't wanted to speak aloud. "You're awake. You weren't supposed to wake up until later." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "Mom, where did you go?" Her mother flinched, as if the question had struck her physically. Slowly, she stepped inside the room. The hallway light behind her cast a trembling shadow onto the floor. "I just needed air," she said, but even she didn't believe it. Ethan watched her carefully. She wasn't a bad mother. He could see it in every tremor of her body, in every exhausted line on her face. She was just drowning. Drowning in grief, in fear, in bills, in choices no parent should ever have to make. But drowning people sometimes make dangerous decisions. Lily's small voice broke the silence. "Mom, please don't go." The woman shut her eyes tight. Tears slipped out despite her trying to stop them. "Baby," she whispered, sitting down on the edge of the bed, "I'm not leaving you. I wasn't going to go far. But you packed your suitcase," Lily said. The room turned to ice. Her mother inhaled sharply, panic flashing across her face. You weren't supposed to see that. But I did, Lily whispered. I saw it, and I know why. Ethan stepped closer. He didn't speak, yet, but he made himself present. Solid. A witness. A reminder that the world hadn't fully abandoned this family. The woman's eyes flicked up to him for the first time. She looked startled to find a stranger in her daughter's room, but not angry. Just ashamed. I'm sorry, she whispered to him. I didn't expect anyone. She's usually asleep longer. I carried her upstairs, Ethan said gently. She asked for help. The woman's lip trembled. She reached out and stroked Lily's hair with a tenderness so raw it made Ethan feel like an intruder in something sacred. Why would you leave me? Lily's voice was barely audible, but it carried the devastation of a child who had run out of time for lies. Her mother pressed her forehead to Lily's, tears dripping onto the blanket. Because I'm not enough, she whispered. Because I can't save you. I can't keep you warm. I can't afford the medicine anymore. I can't even breathe without feeling like I'm failing you. You're not failing, Lily whispered, touching her cheek. But her mother shook her head violently. I've applied everywhere. I've begged. I've borrowed. I've done everything I can, and it's not enough. The doctor said you need treatments I can't afford. They're stopping them next month. I can't watch you suffer because of me. I thought, her voice cracked, and she covered her face. I thought if I left, someone else stronger would take you in. Someone who could give you a chance. Lily sobbed, a weak, trembling sound that shattered Ethan's chest. I don't want someone stronger, she cried. I want you. Even if it hurts. Even if we're poor. Even if I never get better. I want you. Her mother broke completely then. She collapsed forward, wrapping her daughter in arms that shook with grief. Ethan looked away, giving them a moment, his jaw clenched so tightly it hurt. He knew hardship. He'd seen families torn apart by poverty. He'd seen parents crumble under the weight of medical bills. But this was a cruelty no one deserved. He stepped into the hallway, letting the mother and daughter cling to each other. For a moment, he leaned against the peeling wallpaper, eyes closed, heart pounding. The apartment was so cold he could almost see his breath. The heater he brought sat unopened on the floor, an absurdly small solution to an enormous problem. But then, Lily's voice drifted out of the bedroom. Ethan, don't go. His eyes opened. She was holding her mother's hand tightly, but her gaze was fixed on him, pleading. Please stay, she whispered. You're strong. Mom needs someone strong too. Her mother wiped her face, embarrassed. I'm sorry. You don't have to. I'm not going anywhere, Ethan said quietly. Not until you're both all right. Lily smiled weakly. Her mother didn't smile. Not yet. But something in her shoulders loosened, a thread pulled back from the edge. Ethan stepped back in. Let me set up the heater, he said. This place is freezing. The mother nodded numbly. While he worked, he listened. He didn't mean to eavesdrop, but the walls were thin, and their voices were soft but clear. Mom, promise me you won't leave. I promise, her mother whispered, breaking again. I was scared. But I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. Silence. Then Lily said, do you believe people can come into your life for a reason? Yes, her mother whispered. I do now. When Ethan finished installing the heater, the apartment began to warm slowly. The air stopped biting his skin. The mother and daughter watched him, both small and fragile in their own ways. She finally spoke. You don't even know us. You don't owe us anything. Ethan sat down across from them. I know enough, he said. I know you're doing your best. And I know she needs help. Her mother looked away, ashamed again. Help costs money. And we have none. Ethan rubbed his palms together, thinking. He wasn't rich. He wasn't powerful. But he wasn't helpless either. There are programs, he said. Charity funds. Medical aid groups. I know a lawyer who helps families in crisis pro bono. He helped my brother once. I can call him. I can help you file appeals, get emergency grants. Her mother shook her head. I've tried. They said Lily's type of treatment is too expensive and not covered anymore. Then we fight harder, Ethan said quietly. Lily looked at him like he was a superhero. Her mother looked at him like he was insane. You don't even know us, she repeated in disbelief. But Ethan met her eyes and said something that surprised even himself. I know what it's like to lose someone because you didn't have help. Her expression softened instantly. She didn't ask questions. She just nodded. He continued, voice low. I'm not letting that happen again. The room became very quiet. Lily's eyes filled with tears, this time not from fear, but from hope. "Ethan," she whispered, "you're the secret now." He frowned gently. "What do you mean? You came when we needed you," she said, her voice trembling. "I think, maybe that's why I asked you to carry me. I felt it, that you were meant to help us." Ethan didn't believe in fate. But the way she said it made him want to. The next hours slipped by in a blur of soft voices, gentle reassurances, and plans. He called his lawyer friend. He took photos of the medical bills, scanning them to send. He explained options, made lists, offered to drive them to the clinic tomorrow. He fixed a broken window latch. He checked the wiring. He tightened the loose screws on the door. Small things, but things that made the apartment safer, warmer, less fragile. By the time he was ready to leave, Lily was asleep, one hand curled around her mother's thumb, breathing shallow but peaceful. Her mother stood with him in the hallway. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "You don't have to," he said softly. "Just don't give up again." She swallowed. "I won't. Not now." He turned to go, but she stopped him with a hand on his arm. "Ethan, why did you help us?" "Really?" He thought for a long time before answering. "Because she asked," he finally said. "And because no child should face the dark alone." The woman blinked back tears. "And because I think," Ethan added quietly, "you're stronger than you think. You just needed someone to remind you." He stepped out into the cold night. The wind bit at his cheeks, but something warm had settled in his chest, a purpose, a promise not yet fulfilled. Behind him, inside the apartment, he heard the heater hum softly, the first warmth the place had felt in months. And he knew he'd be back tomorrow. And the next day. And as many days as it took. Because some secrets were not meant to be whispered and forgotten. Some secrets were meant to save people. And Lily's secret had saved them all.